Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year. This is my first video in 2024 and I thought I would take the opportunity to give you a bit of a rundown of all my gear. A rig rundown? I don't think that's ever been used before. So I started making videos back in March last year, 2023, and I've made about 50 videos, I think, on different bits of gear and what have you, mostly on different bits of gear anyway, over that period of time. So I think it's probably quite easy to assume that as a kind of guitar YouTubers, we have a shed load of gear and we've got unlimited funds for all of this stuff. But actually the reality of it for me is that I buy and sell an awful lot of stuff, and my collection is probably smaller today than it has been for quite a while, really, considering some of the changes I made at the end of last year, which we'll go into a little bit. So, it's not a massive gear collection, but it's it's a decent amount of stuff that I have, and I wanted to show you, everything that's in the collection. So first up, we're talking about amps, and I've never been a big collector of amps. I've always really just had one amp at any one time, or at the most two. When I was in a gigging band, I had a big 100-watt head and 4x12 cab, which, by the way, was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. But I also then had a smaller kind of practice amp that I would use at home. Sometimes I would leave that amp and cab at a practice space or what have you. But usually it's like one main amp that I use. And that's really been the case the whole time I play guitar. So last year, I think, or 2022, I can't really quite remember, I actually decided to pick up one of the Fender Toastmaster deluxe reverbs. I was really into this idea of being able to move the thing. Like, valve amps are heavy. So that is my current amp. It's the blonde Fender Special Run version with the different speaker and what have you. I am intending to make a video on that soon, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but suffice to say, I really like it. Who knows whether it stays long term, but I've had it for, I think, getting on for a year, like I said. I like it. It's easy to cut around. I don't do a lot of gigging these days, but I do cut it around to friends' houses to, jam and what have you. So, just having to lug a valve amp up and down the stairs, I was just over it, really. But, never say never. I would quite like one of those Marshall Studio vintage amps. I'm not sure which one I would go for right now, but I'd probably want to combine that with just like a 1x12 cab or something if I do change my amp in the future, and something that I can use for recording as well. Maybe that's a change I make in the future, but for now, we're sticking with the Fender Deluxe Reverb Toastmaster. So pedal-wise, besides the pedals that you see on the shelf behind me, really the only pedals I have are what are on my pedal board. Again, I'm not a huge hoarder of gear. I tend to move stuff on really quickly to buy the next thing that I'm interested in. Or if something doesn't work out for me, I don't kind of stick it on the shelf and keep it. I mean, those aside, but typically I'm moving them on. So some of these pedals were demo pedals for the Pedal Boards of Doom channel that I also make videos on. The Boss SD1 Wazacraft, it's not on my board at the moment, but I don't really want to let go of it just yet. But yeah, these are the only pedals that I have in the collection. So the stuff I have on the board, I think, gives me loads of options. Particularly having recently added a Line 6 HX Stomp back onto the board. So I did have the Boss GT1000 Core. Now, I think that's a really great multi-effects and amp modeling pedal. I just didn't really get on with editing it on the pedal itself. The application's really good. But you do have to obviously connect it up and, take it off your board, USB, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to go back to the Line 6 because I just know how those work. I find them really easy to edit, and I really like the sounds and the fact that they update them regularly. So, you're always getting new stuff with the Line 6 range of pedals. So the pedal board has significantly changed since I made the video last year, demoing my pedal board and everything I was using on it. I think, I'm just looking at a picture over here, I think the only thing that's still on the board that was on it when I did that video is the tuner, the Polytune Mini 3, the SP compressor from Exotic, and the Beatronics Vespa. Everything else is kind of new. I think. So the newest stuff that's on there that I've been really enjoying is the Wampler Timeless Germanium. I put a whole video out on that pedal recently, as well as the other pedal on here, the Boss BP1W preamp and booster pedal. Both really cool additions to the board. I really love those pedals. Yeah, check out the full video on them as well. I've also got the Boss RV200 on the board. Again, I've done a separate video on that, so check that out as well. So that's the board. I'll probably do a full video on that at some point with the, how I'm using it in 2024, what each of the pedals do, how I'm kind of using those pedals, that kind of thing. So look out for that in a future video. So finally, guitars. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I recently significantly downsized my guitar collection, having bought a Sterling Mariposa and falling in love with that guitar. It pushed me to basically trade in a load of other guitars and return that guitar to get the Music Man version. So look, we'll start off with the Mariposa. I'll just go grab it and then we'll be back. So here's the Mariposa. So like I said, I traded in 5 guitars and returned the Sterling version of this guitar. I just absolutely fallen in love with this guitar. It's the one that I pick up the most at the moment. I mean, I don't have many left. So it's 1 out of 3 electrics that I have left. And it is the one I go to the most. It's just like nothing I've ever played before. The quality, the weight even. I said that in my video on this guitar. It's just a phenomenal guitar, but you would expect it to be. They're really expensive. This one's a keeper, a lifer. But yeah, I love this thing. I can't see it ever leaving my possession now that I've got it, but famous last words. Yeah, on to the next one. So this is the guitar that kind of got me back into playing guitar. When I got this, I'd kind of stopped playing for the most part, barely ever picking up guitar. I definitely lost some of my skills as well. Not that I'm a particularly great guitarist, but I definitely had lost some of my ability. And I just really lost interest in playing guitar and writing music, that kind of thing. And at the time I had a Gibson Les Paul Custom. I bought that back in the early 2000s, but it really wasn't the guitar that I wanted to play anymore. It was kind of part of a thing that I used to do. It's from, I used it predominantly in a different type of music that I wanted to play in my old band. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time either. I was a new dad, and I didn't have a particularly well-paid job, so really the only way I could get a new guitar was to sell that one and buy this. Now I do regret that a little bit, letting go of that Les Paul, because it was a really, really great guitar. But this thing, it's by no means the best Strat in the world, but it really kind of re-inspired me to get back into playing, writing, and doing all things guitar, which ultimately led me here to making videos on this channel, writing music, recording music, making demo videos, all that kind of stuff. So this is my American Vintage reissue Fender USA 65 Strat. So this was the old American Vintage series before they scrapped it and brought out the American Original. This was in the line. They've since brought back the American Vintage series, American Vintage 2. I haven't got really any experience with those guitars, but these ones were touted at the time as being the most accurate that they'd ever been to the guitar that it was emulating. So this being a 65, it was the most accurate to a 65 that they'd made to date, basically, at least in production guitars, so excluding custom shop. It's nitro finished, and yeah, I've relicked it. I've got a whole video on this guitar if you want to check it out some more. I'll try and remember to either put it in the cards or link it in the description. Yeah, love it or hate it, the relic. I like relic guitars, and I just wanted to make this feel a little bit more like my guitar. It is a nitro finish, so it does relic a little bit better than a poly finish would. But yeah, that's the Strat, and that's kind of the reason I'm still playing guitar, I think. This one is a new acquisition last year, and it's one of the ones, again, it's the final electric that I actually kept out of the 7, 8 guitars I had. So this and my Strat are the two that I kept out of all of the guitars I had prior to the Mariposa. It's a Jason Isbell signature Telecaster. Now, I said it in the video about the guitar, I have no interest in Jason Isbell, his music or anything like that. I just really like the spec of this guitar. It's a made in Mexico, nitro finished Telecaster custom, rosewood board. You know, all the things I really like about Telecasters. I really like the 60s custom Telecasters with the double binding. So this is right up my street. I've had a couple of Telecasters in the past, let them go for one reason or another, and I really wanted to get one back in my collection. So yeah, this was a great spec, and I really love it. But yeah, full video on this on the channel as well, so check that out. Onto my last guitar. Okay, so this is the last of my guitars, and it's my only acoustic guitar. This guitar, I've had it for quite a while, and it actually belonged to my grandpa, who sadly passed away back in October. So this now has quite a lot of meaning behind it. It's not a particularly good acoustic guitar, and by that I mean it's pretty low end. It's a Takamine EG 560C, made in Korea. Again, it's just a fairly cheap acoustic electric guitar. It sounds really good. I don't play a lot of acoustic. But yeah, this guitar just, obviously it's not going to go anywhere. It's part of my collection now for good. And it's something that I kind of remember my grandpa when I play it, But yeah. And considering I haven't changed the strings in probably 2-3 years, which shows you how much I play acoustic guitar, it still sounds pretty good. Yeah, like I say, I have actually used this on some videos on my channel, not on the kind of demo videos, but before I was making demo videos, I was making cover videos. So I covered a couple of John Frusciante songs, some other stuff and what have you. I used this guitar on that recording. So if you want to check out how it sounds in a recording, I'll link those videos in the description. So that's it for gear and guitars that belong to me, but we do have a couple of other guitars in the collection that actually belong to my wife. So she's got a couple of basses, which if you're a guitar player who likes to record stuff, it's really handy to have a wife that plays bass. So I'm going to grab those and show them you now. So So this slightly dusty guitar is a PJ Mustang bass from the Player series in Sonic Blue, I think. Sonic Blue, maybe. It's got my To the Stars strap from when I had the Tom DeLonge guitar. Yeah, this is a cool bass for a guitar player, right? So it's short scale. It's really easy to play. It's got loads of options sound-wise because you've got a P bass pickup and a jazz pickup, and you've got, you know, controls to blend them, all that stuff. They're reasonably affordable guitars, these. So I think she picked this up for under £600 at the time, a couple of years back. But it's a cool little guitar. I use it loads for recording because it's just really easy to play compared to a full-scale bass, which I'll grab now. So this is the cool one. This is the Fender Flea signature bass. It's the made in Mexico one, the road worn one. This is really cool, a really cool bass. Again, jazz bass. It's got the stacked pots, based on Flea's, 62? Might be later than that, 63. Shell pink jazz bass. There's quite an interesting story around that original bass if you want to check that out sometime. But this is a really cool bass, man. It's like, neck is, you know, got that kind of road worn feel to it. The shell pink has really kind of faded. I think we call it actually faded shell pink. This one has kind of yellowed quite a bit in under UV light, and sort of reacted with our guitar rack a little bit down the bottom. But I think that kind of adds to the look of the guitar. The wear looks a little bit unnatural in places, but having said that, it is mostly replicating what's on Flea's actual bass, but it's got that kind of Mexican factory templated kind of road worn look. But I still think it's really cool, plays really nicely. Just a really cool bass. Like, what guitarist wouldn't be pleased to have somebody in the household with one of these to pick up and play? Again, I've used this on loads of videos when I was doing those cover videos in the past, so, you know, I'll link a couple in the description so you can check it out and hear how it sounds. But yeah, really cool bass. So yeah, look, that's the collection. So, you know, I don't think it's too crazy. My pedal collection, pedal addiction, I should say, you know, it's still there, but I do typically kind of sell stuff on to buy new stuff if I'm not using it, or if I've tried it and I didn't really like it, I'll, you know, sell it on to fund the next thing. So I don't end up with a huge load of gear going unused in a collection. And obviously my guitars, I've significantly reduced that collection down towards the end of last year, trading in those guitars for the Mariposa. But, you know, let me know what you think. Do you like this video? Do you like this kind of content? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's first video of 2024. Still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Didn't quite make it before the end of the year, but we're getting there, nearly there now. If you like the video, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. Yeah, that's about it. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.